Hello and welcome to day 17 of our 30 days of yoga. I hope you're holding up okay. We're going to be focusing on releasing the hamstrings today. So these are the kind of muscles at the back of the back of the thigh, which for most people tend to get quite tight and can often be a kind of contributing factor towards back pain. I know that when my back gets a little bit sore, it really does help to stretch out the hamstrings. It's just everything kind of is interlinked, isn't it? It's never just one part of the body. There's always, it can quite often come from another part. So there's just one reason to work with the hamstrings, but we're just a little bit more focused on that today. So we're going to come down to laying first of all. So we're going to start laying down. Let's just take a couple of breaths. Just hands wherever's comfortable, maybe the sides, maybe the belly. Okay, just let your body relax. We're going to kind of encourage the body to let go of that holding, let go of that tightness around the back of the legs. So we're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest. So hug that right knee in, give it a nice squeeze. Okay, left leg is extended away if possible. If there's any discomfort there, just bend up the knee a little, okay? So you've got that option there. We're just going to flex through the foot and we're going to press through that heel. So extend the leg, press through the heel, draw the toes towards you, and you should feel a pretty intense stretch all the way up the back. So maybe you're holding around the calf, maybe you're holding around the back of the thigh. But you should feel that stretch all the way up. So we're trying not to make it go outside, but directly kind of over the body, and you'll feel it that much more intensely. So let's just take a deep breath in. And then with the exhalation, the possibility to bring the head up towards, oh sorry, my bones here, sorry. Head up towards the leg, or you can keep the head down, okay? Quite a thick mat actually, but sometimes my spine feels a bit bony. You'll find that this extra weight is gonna help to stretch the leg a little bit more deeply. Okay, breathing. Don't straighten the head or neck though, and then releasing down. Okay, good. I'm going to take that knee in, take it across the body, so resting left hand onto that knee, and just easing. You're not forcing, just easing. A little bit of a twist. Nice release for the spine. Other arm extended away. You can take the gaze along that arm if it feels okay. And breathe. So you should feel a nice stretch across the outer hip into the glutes. Okay, nice release for the spine. And then coming back to center. We're going to draw the other knee in. Extend the right leg away this time. So we're just hugging the left knee in for the time being, so give it a little bit of a squeeze. And then we're going to press through that heel, so exactly the same this side. Press through that heel. It might feel tighter, it might feel more open one side compared to the other, so just observation, not judgment. Holding wherever's comfortable to hold, so calf, back of the thigh. Take a deep breath in. And then the possibility to draw the head up towards the leg. Brain fog. Head up towards the leg. Or you're just going to keep the head down if the neck is causing any discomfort in the head and the neck. Okay, and again, if you try to relax into it a little, so we're not kind of working against ourselves, we're trying to create a little bit more opening. We're just starting as well, so bearing that in mind, you might feel a little bit tighter. And then releasing down, bending that knee in, taking it across the body, so getting into that hip stretch and the spinal twist. Back of the shoulders connected with the mat, and you just feel that nice stretch across the spine and across the outer hips, kind of deep into the glutes. Take a couple of breaths, let the head and neck relax. Okay. And then slowly back to center, knees back to center. Give both knees a hug. and we're just going to roll ourselves up to sitting up or coming onto your side first. So you've always got that option if rolling up causes any discomfort. We're going to come onto all fours, and we're going to press ourselves up into downward facing dog, but just to set up for a low lunge. So yeah, so we'll do that. So we're just going to lift up through the bottom and the hips. Actually here, even in this position, I'm going to straighten my legs a bit more. You can feel, as you lift up through the bottom and the hips, you should feel that stretch into the back of the legs, so into the hamstring. So here in particular, you'll feel it through the calves as you're pressing through the heels. But we are, well, a lot of things are stretching and opening in downward facing dog, but we are working with the hamstrings as well. Let's just take one leg out behind, swing that through between the hands, and then we're going to stay low in this sequence today. The back knee is coming down and the toes might be tucked or untucked, so whichever feels more comfortable. Working with the hip flexors actually with this posture. So Untitled Crescent Lunge, you might keep your hands down, you might take them onto the thigh, or you might bring them up overhead. Okay, I know it's a little bit tight in the screen here, but my arms are apart, or you can have them together. So you're either like this, or you're slightly apart. Okay, oh, bit of a balance as well. Breathing. Again, and I've mentioned this before in this pose, if it feels too open through the hip flexors, just shift the bottom back. Okay, good. Okay, and then we're going to take the hands down, and then keeping the foot exactly where it is, draw back onto the heel, and now we're getting more into the hamstrings. So you're pressing, or you've got your fingertips here, maybe your palms, and you're getting a little bit more body weight into it. This really is kind of isolating that beautiful stretch and release into the hamstrings. We're not causing ourselves pain, so you don't want to be like holding your breath and thinking this is so painful. You just want to come in where you can feel that beautiful stretch, and it feels like there's a release going on as well. So let's just take a breath or two here. Okay, it should feel really good when you just I love stretching my hamstrings. My hamstrings aren't too bad, they're quite open, but they always need stretching, even when they sort of kind of feel nice. Even though I can open fairly deeply into my hamstrings, there's always that resistance, and you want there to be because it feels so good. Okay, just come forwards, move that leg back, come back into downward facing dog. The thing is with yoga, there's always somewhere to go, so you're never as open or as flexible as you can be. There's always somewhere to go within the pose. You might be stronger in a pose, you might balance better in a pose, you might be more flexible. It's never finished. So and we're not trying to achieve perfection. We're just trying to kind of be aware of what we're getting from different postures. Taking the other legs, whichever leg you didn't do, out behind, swinging through into Untitled. Again, a little bit more focus on the hip flexors, so in the front of the back leg. Find your hand placement, so floor, thigh, maybe overhead. Oh, and you can feel that nice release. This is a beautiful hip flexor stretch. Again, if it doesn't feel beautiful and it feels painful, shift it back, okay? The kind of adage, no pain, no gain, really doesn't apply to yoga. You don't want to be stretching to the point of pain. You just want to feel a really nice release, and you should be aware that that's what you're feeling. So it shouldn't be painful, okay? Although I hope if you were a beginner, or if you hadn't been practicing for a while, I hope that you can feel a little development. Now we're on day 17, taking the hands down, foot stays exactly where it is, just easing back. So you're just coming into that hamstring stretch. You might find you're bending the front leg a little. You can see, even if I bend my leg, I can still feel the stretch, yeah. So again, you might be fingertips, might be palms, just get a little bit more body weight into that stretch, into that posture. And breathe, okay. So just taking a breath or two, the more weight you get into that, the deeper that stretch. Okay, and then we're going to move forwards, and we're going to turn So we're going to have the hands to the floor, bring them to the inside. I'm going to turn now into Skandasana. So this is our side lunge, and we're kind of still getting into the hamstrings and hips. You'll quite often feel that there are a lot of poses that work both, so not just hip flexors, not just hamstrings, but bringing both into it. So you might have the foot flexed here. If this is too deep for the knee, as it might be, you might find your bottoms in the air, okay? So that's an option. Again, we're not forcing postures, okay? If you come onto your tips of your fingers a little, maybe balance, okay? Building strength in that foot, okay, good. Take the hands down, move across to the other side. So do what you need to do to come across, don't overstretch anything, okay? And again, you should just feel a nice stretch here, getting into the, really around the hip joints as well as the hamstrings, okay? And the possibility, maybe keep the hands down, if your heel might even be down. I think if I put the heel down, I feel like I'm sitting back too much though. So if you can stay on the toes, then stay on the toes, and then obviously you can play with the balance. So the possibility to bring the hands together, you've got to keep that focus forward, otherwise you end up sitting back into it, which is fine, but if you're working with a balance, keep that weight a bit forwards, and then just take the hands down. It should be really nice there. We're going to come down sitting, bring this leg round, so we're almost done. Flesh from the sit bones. Okay, there's just so many postures that you can include for hamstring stretching, but I thought we'll just keep it low today and just explore these specific postures. So flesh from the sit bones to keep nice and grounded, arms coming up, so you're stretching the spine and then hinging from the hips. So this is just to avoid this, if you can help it. It encourages you to kind of bend from the hips, and then you're coming into your deepest stretch. If it feels too intense to keep the legs straight, bend the knees a little, and then you can fold forwards like this, okay? If you want to keep the legs straight, keep the legs straight. Hold where you can, hands to the floor, shins around the feet. You can even use a strap around the feet to kind of keep the spine long. So you're going to feel this into the spine as well, so it's a stretch into the spine, and then you might just fold into it, okay? So bend the knees if you wish. Even with the knees bent, you can definitely still feel that into the hamstrings. So Kashimottanasana, an intense stretch of the west pertaining to the, or corresponding to the back of the body. Okay. Only folding forwards if your back is okay, obviously. And then we're just going to come slowly up to sitting up, okay? And we'll turn to face front. So I hope you enjoyed kind of look at just easing out the hamstrings. I'm sure you're finding with the shorter sequences that you just you're almost like you want to keep going, and that's a really good sign. That means you're really enjoying your practice, but within mind to keep going every day for 30 days. Yeah, that's why I wanted to, attempting to keep them a little bit shorter. I've gotten a bit carried away some days. I have no idea how long they're going to be. Okay, so we're just going to close. Let's just take our hands over our heart center. Just tune in a little. Take a couple of breaths. Breathe into the belly if you prefer. Abdominal breath. Shoulders relax. Okay. And then let's just take the hands together. Bring the thumbs to the brow center. And down to the lips. Down to the heart center. Namaste. So well done, and I shall look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.